What's up, Techno fam? Trying to do your Techno Dad here, and the long and short of it is the Yamaha just doesn't work with the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, but we already knew that. Let's get into it right after the jump. And I'm back. Now, before we begin, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting my journey here on YouTube. And I know a lot of you just joined up for access to Dolby Atmos demos, but it gets better. There are more demos on the way. Next month is DTS:X. This month was IMAX Enhanced. So if you've been always looking for those demos and not wanting to buy some shady copies on eBay, make sure you subscribe up at the $5 level, and the link to my Patreon is down in the description. All right, so now let's talk about PS5 and Yamaha. Now, I was able to get the PS5 4K 120Hz HDR passing through the Marantz AVR, it's the SR-7015, onto my 2019 LG OLED, and that worked. It totally worked, and I tested it again for this video just to make sure it still does work, and yes, it does. Here it is. And if we hit info twice on the Marantz, we can see we're getting 4K 120Hz HDR, and you can see the FRL is 32 gigabits per second. Now, why does the Xbox Series X not work through the Marantz? Maybe it's because of the full 40 gigabits per second and the PS5 is only outputting 32 gigabits per second? I don't know. What's up, everybody? It's like 2 a.m. I'm at work. I was editing the video and I totally forgot to tell you guys something. If you want to know how to set up a PS5 through a Denon or Marantz AV receiver to get 4K 120Hz HDR working, check out the video down in the description. And or if you have an Xbox Series X and want to know how the eARC workaround it needs to be set up, then definitely check out that video also down in the description. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah. The whole situation came about because of a mismatch in the HDMI 2.1 chip that these AVR manufacturers ordered. They ordered the wrong one, and the Xbox Series X does not work with it. Now, Yamaha was supposedly using the exact same chips, so I was assuming that the PlayStation 5 would work on the Yamaha, but that is not the case. The Yamaha RX-V6A is the AVR in question. It's got 3 HDMI 2.1 ports, and they just don't work. So let's jump into some of the B-roll that I took. Now, I was doing PS5 to the Vizio OLED directly, and I was also doing PS5 through the Yamaha to the Vizio OLED, because the Vizio OLED has like this nice little information screen where it tells me what frame rate is coming in, what resolution is coming in, if we're getting HDR. So that's definitely handy in these tests. So let's go upstairs, check it out. So here we are, Call of Duty is playing on the PS5. Let's check to see what's happening with the Vizio and what's coming in. So we press the menu button on the Vizio remote and click on Admin and Privacy, then click on System Information. And now here we can see resolution is 3840 by 2160, which is 4K UHD. So that's good. Frame rate coming in is 60, and we do see HDR10 is on. So that's all good there. Okay, so now let's get into the settings of the PS5, pressing the PS button, then go home. And now from here, we're going to scroll up and over to the cog icon to bring up the settings menu. Scroll down to screen and video, and then select video output information. And here we can see under color format, it says when displaying 4K HDR content at 60 Hz, the color format will be YUV422 or YUV420 instead of RGB due to HDMI 2.0 transfer speed limitations. This is the key right here. Due to HDMI 2.0 transfer speed limitations, meaning the PS5 doesn't see any HDMI 2.1 compatibility with the Yamaha V6A. This means that the Yamaha RX-V6A's HDMI 2.1 port is not properly sending the signal or is not the right type of HDMI 2.1 port. If we go onto the graphics settings of Call of Duty, you can see 120Hz refresh rate is disabled and grayed out. So yeah, we're not getting 4K 120 HDR through the Yamaha. So here's where we go see if there's a setting in the Yamaha in the HDMI menu to see if there's any changes. So I'm going to press Setup on the Yamaha, go into HDMI, scroll down to HDMI video format, and target source is HDMI 1. That's currently what the PS5 is plugged into. So here we have mode 1. It says, depending on the connected device or HDMI cables, video may not be displayed correctly. In this case, select mode 2. So let's go ahead and try mode 2. All right, let's pop out of this menu from the Yamaha and let's go into the PS5 menu, go over to the gear icon, go to screen and video and select video output information. And you can see 4K HDR is not supported and there's no mention of 120 Hz and any kind of available frequencies for 4K output. All right, so now I'm going to remove the Yamaha from the signal chain. So it's just the PS5 and the Vizio, and this is what we get over here. We can see that the color format is in RGB, and now we can see frequencies of 120 Hz for both HDR and non-HDR. Now we need to make sure that under Save Data and Game App Settings that the game preset is set to Performance Mode, which we can verify here. Let's jump into Astro's Playroom, then jump out of that into Call of Duty, as we need to restart the game to initiate the 120 Hz performance mode. So we're doing this to see what the TV is seeing when the Yamaha is not in between the PS5 and the TV. So again, we press menu, go to admin and privacy, select system information, and here we have 4K. Right under that, we have an incoming frame rate of 120 frames per second. Down here, we've got HDR10. So we know we're getting 4K 120 Hz HDR into the TV. So now let's go back and connect the PS5 through the Yamaha V6A and see what happens. Now in doing that, this is the message we're getting from the PS5. To continue, connect the PS5 to the TV you were using previously and then start the game or app again. So basically this is saying, hey, we can't keep the game at 4K 120 Hz HDR due to the TV change, but we didn't change the TV, right? We just added the Yamaha in between the PS5 and the TV. So clearly the Yamaha is just not working. It's not passing anything through. And considering Yamaha was supposedly using the same chips as the Denon and the Marantz, that makes me wonder what the heck is going on, because the Marantz is able to pass through the PS5 signal to my LG OLED. So not sure really what's happening here. So basically, it's not working. Now, of course, you're going to be like, well, TechnoDad, are you using two HDMI 2.1 cables? Yes, I am. I'm using the Pacro Band and the Horizon cables. And if you don't know what those are, you're unfamiliar, or you're looking for HDMI 2.1 cables, I've tested a bunch out, and I'll put a link down in the description so you can check out which performed better, and it's all based on cable length. So make sure you check that out if you are in the market for some new HDMI 2.1 cables. Okay, so we can confirm that even though they're supposedly the same HDMI 2.1 chips in the Denon, Marantz, and the Yamaha, it's just not working with the Yamaha. What is that about? I don't know. But just to be thorough, and I know you guys are going to ask, you're probably going to be like, well, does the Xbox Series X work with the Yamaha? Maybe it's some weird thing where it does work with the Yamaha and it doesn't work with the Denon and Marantz. So let's try it. All right, so if we jump into the 4K TV details in the settings of the Xbox Series X, we can see that it says your TV setup does not support 4K UHD at 120. Your TV supports Dolby Vision and TV supports capturing, but we don't even get like all the green check marks like we're supposed to, right? So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the definitive. The Yamaha AV receivers cannot support any 4K 120 Hz HDR from PS5 or Xbox Series X. So if you're in the market for an AV receiver that you want to use in conjunction with any of these consoles, your only option is the Denon and Marantz, and that's if and only if you have a PS5, because the Series X still doesn't work with any AV receivers on the market. So what does this mean? This means I should probably put the PS5 in the living room where I have the Marantz AV receiver and the one 8K port, which runs the 4K 120, have that going through to the TV. And then since I don't have an AV receiver in the bedroom, put the Xbox Series X in the bedroom. So basically what it boils down to is do whatever works for your particular setup. And of course, people are going to be like, oh, well, what if I want the PS5 in the bedroom? Then you move it. Simple enough, right? Well, that's it. I hope this was a quick video. I don't know. It says like 20 minutes of recording. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great one, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.